2 years ago, a bad storm knocked out power in my neighborhood for 11 days. 11 days. By day 3, the grocery stores were wiped out. Empty shelves, long lines, people arguing over the last few cans of anything they could find. My family? We were completely fine because I had spent maybe $200 over a few months quietly building a simple canned food stockpile in my pantry. No bunker, no thousands of dollars, just smart, consistent shopping. And during those 11 days, while neighbors were stressed and scrambling, we were eating actual meals, hot food, real nutrition. My kids didn't even realize anything was wrong. That experience changed me, and I wanted to change how you think about your pantry too. Because here's what most people don't understand. You don't stockpile because you're scared. You stockpile because you're smart. Because food prices are up 30% since 2020 and still climbing. Because supply chains are more fragile than anyone wants to admit. Because the next disruption, whether it's a storm, an economic shock, or something nobody saw coming, is always closer than we think. So today, I'm breaking down the 15 best canned foods to stockpile right now. These aren't random picks. Every single one was chosen for calories, nutrition, shelf life, and real-world versatility. Stick around for number 9, cheapest can in the store. Most people completely ignore it. It might be the most important one on this entire list. Let's go. 15. Canned diced tomatoes. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. One of the most powerful pantry ingredients in the entire grocery store costs barely $1, and most shoppers walk right past it. And canned diced tomatoes don't look impressive. But behind that simple can is one of the most versatile survival foods you can keep in a pantry. Think about it. One can instantly become pasta sauce, chili base, soup starter, stew flavor, rice seasoning, or even emergency salsa. And nutritionally, they punch above their weight. Tomatoes naturally contain vitamin C, vitamin K, potassium, and powerful antioxidants like lycopene that help protect cells from oxidative damage. Even after the canning process, a single serving can still deliver roughly 20 to 25 milligrams of vitamin C, contributing a noticeable portion of your daily intake. But here's the part most people don't realize. When tomatoes are heated during canning, something interesting happens. The antioxidant lycopene actually becomes easier for your body to absorb, meaning canned tomatoes may deliver stronger antioxidant benefits than raw ones. Now at the prepper advantage. These cans can sit quietly on a shelf for 2 to 5 years, ready whenever you need them. And the money trick? Store-brand diced tomatoes are often 30 to 40% cheaper than name brands. Yet many are produced in the same regional processing plants during tomato harvest season, which means the humble can of diced tomatoes might be the cheapest flavor upgrade in your entire pantry. 14. Canned corn. Let's start with something almost everyone walks past in the grocery store. Canned corn. It doesn't look impressive. It's cheap. It's basic. But that's exactly why experienced preppers quietly stack it in the back of their pantry. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Canned corn is actually a dense little energy source. Just 100 grams contains about 67 calories, carbohydrates for quick energy, fiber, and several B vitamins that support metabolism and nerve health. And because corn is naturally sweet and keeps its texture even after canning, it's one of the few vegetables that still feels like comfort food months or years later. When people talk about morale food during emergencies, this is exactly what they mean. A simple bowl of corn with a little salt can instantly make a bland survival meal feel normal again. Another reason it's trending again in prepping circles? Convenience. It's fully cooked. You can eat it straight from the can, toss it into cold salads, stir it into soups, or mix it into rice for instant calories. And the canning process actually locks in many nutrients soon after harvest. Meaning canned corn still provides vitamins and minerals comparable to fresh versions in many cases. But canned corn is just the warm-up. Because the real calorie kings in this list start at number 13. 13. Canned potatoes. Now, this one surprises people. Most shoppers skip right past canned potatoes because they assume fresh potatoes are always better. But seasoned preppers know something different. Canned potatoes are one of the most underrated survival foods sitting quietly on grocery shelves. First, they're already peeled, cooked, and ready to eat. No washing, no peeling, no boiling water. In a real emergency when power or fuel might be limited, that matters more than people think. Second, potatoes are naturally packed with nutrients. They're especially known for potassium, vitamin C, and energy-producing carbohydrates, all of which help support muscle function and immune health. That combination makes them incredibly practical. Open the can and you instantly have something filling. Dice them into a stew, mash them with a little salt, toss them into a skillet and crisp them up. But here's the real secret. Canned potatoes are incredibly versatile calorie fillers. They stretch meals. A single can can turn a small soup into a full family pot. They can bulk up canned meat dishes, rice meals, or emergency stews. And that's why experienced food storers quietly grab them while everyone else ignores them. Because if canned corn is comfort food, the next item is where serious emergency calories begin. Let me quickly pull fresh data for these items before writing. Got everything I need. Here are all 4 sections, each tight, human, shocking, and story-driven. 12. Canned chicken. Let me ask you something real quick. When everything goes wrong, no power, no fresh groceries, no idea when things get back to normal, what's your protein plan? Because here's the thing most people forget. Your body needs protein to function, to stay strong, to keep your head clear, and in an SHTF situation, protein becomes more valuable than almost anything else in your pantry. That's exactly why canned chicken earns its spot on this list. One single 5-ounce can delivers around 25 grams of complete protein. No cooking required, no refrigeration, just open it and eat. Registered dietitians call it one of the most convenient shelf-stable proteins you can stockpile, and they're right. But here's the warning most people skip right past: sodium. Some brands pack a shocking 400 milligrams or more per serving. In an emergency, when you're already dehydrated and stressed, that matters. So here's what you do. Flip the can over before you buy it. Look for low sodium on the label. Better yet, go for brands with the simplest ingredient list, just chicken, water, and salt. Wild Planet is a great example. Clean, minimal, no junk. Store it cool and dark. Shelf life runs 2 to 5 years easily. This isn't glamorous food, but glamour doesn't matter when you're trying to keep your family strong. 11. Canned chili with beans. Here's something nobody talks about when they discuss survival food. Morale. Yeah, morale. Because here's the reality. When a crisis drags on, day 5, day 7, day 10, the food you're eating starts to matter emotionally, not just physically. Bland food kills your spirit, and a broken spirit makes everything harder. That's the secret power of canned chili with beans. It's not just food, it's comfort in a can. And nutritionally, this thing is a complete meal all by itself. Protein from the meat, fiber and extra protein from the beans. Complex carbs for sustained energy, all in one can, ready to eat cold if you have to. But here's the thing you absolutely need to pay attention to when you're shopping. Make sure it says Chili with beans. Not all meat chili. The beans are not just filler. They double the fiber content, add plant-based protein, and make the whole can stretch further. That matters when supplies are tight. Kids will eat it without complaining. And trust me, in a stressful situation, that alone is worth its weight in gold. Buy a variety too. Different brands, different heat levels. That's because eating the exact same thing every single day breaks people faster than the crisis itself does. Stock at least 12 to 15 cans per person. Rotate every year. Simple. 10. Canned soup and broth. Okay, quick question. What's the one thing people forget to think about in a survival situation, right after food? Hydration, and this is where canned soup and broth become something way more powerful than just a meal. Think about it. If your water supply is limited, unreliable, or unsafe, a can of low-sodium chicken broth gives you hydration and nutrition at the same time. FEMA recommends 1 gallon of water per person per day just for drinking. But in reality, cooking, hygiene, and stress all push that number higher. Broth buys you a cushion, and here's something most people miss. Your broth is the ultimate base ingredient for everything else on this list. Pour it into your canned beans. Heat it with your canned chicken. Use it to stretch a small amount of food into an actual satisfying meal. 1 can of broth turns 3 cans of other stuff into a real dinner. Now, sodium warning again. A lot of canned soups are loaded with salt. We're talking 800 to 900 milligrams per serving. Always go low sodium when you can. It gives you control. You can always add salt later. You can't take it out. Stock a mix, chicken broth, vegetable broth, and hearty soups like minestrone or lentil. Variety keeps meals interesting, and shelf life runs a solid 1 to 2 years easily when stored right. Don't overlook this one. It's the glue that holds your whole stockpile together. 9. Canned sardines and mackerel. All right, I know what you're thinking. We sardines? Really? Hear me out, because this is the one most preppers laugh at and then regret ignoring. Let's start with the numbers. A single serving of canned sardines delivers 2 full grams of omega-3 fatty acids. That's one of the highest concentrations of any food on the planet. And according to the Cleveland Clinic, sardines have some of the lowest mercury levels of any fish you can buy. 0 mercury concerns. All the benefits. But it gets better. The calcium in sardines? It comes from the soft edible bones. And those little bones pack more calcium per serving than a glass of milk. Let that sink in. More calcium than milk, from a can that costs less than $2. Now mackerel, slightly different profile, but equally impressive. 1, 2 to 3 ounce serving covers your entire daily requirement for vitamin B12. Your entire day, that in 1 serving. Plus, it's loaded with vitamin D, one of the nutrients most Americans are chronically deficient in. And the shelf life? Properly stored canned sardines and mackerel stay safe and nutritious for 3 to 5 years minimum. Many experts say they're still perfectly edible well beyond that date. Here's the money angle. We're talking about one of the cheapest cans in the entire store, under $2 most of the time. Packed in olive oil, which adds bonus healthy calories you need in a survival situation. Most preppers stockpile tuna and completely ignore sardines and mackerel. That is a massive mistake. Nutritionally, these 2 cans punch way above anything tuna can offer. Pro tip: if you're new to sardines, start with mackerel. It's milder, more buttery, way easier for first-timers. Then work your way to sardines packed in olive oil with a little hot sauce. Trust me, once you understand what's inside that tiny can, you'll never walk past it again. 8. Canned pumpkin. Okay, I need you to stop sleeping on this one, because most people only think about canned pumpkin twice a year, Thanksgiving and maybe Halloween. And that right there is a massive mistake. Here's what nobody's telling you. Just half a cup of canned pumpkin gives you 4 grams of fiber, virtually no fat, and only 40 calories. But the real story is the vitamins. Canned pumpkin is loaded with vitamins A, C, and K, all working together to support your immune system. And in an SHTF situation, a strong immune system isn't a luxury, it's survival. But wait, it gets better. 1 cup of canned pumpkin actually contains more carotenoids and fiber than fresh cooked pumpkin. The can beats the fresh version. Let that sink in. You can mix it into soups, stir it into oatmeal, eat it straight from the can. It works in savory dishes just as well as sweet ones. Unopened canned pumpkin can last 2 to 5 years stored in a cool, dry place. That's years of immune-boosting, gut-supporting nutrition sitting quietly in your pantry. Most preppers ignore this one completely. Don't be a mossy prepper. 7. Canned coconut milk. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you thought about fat in your stockpile? Not protein, not carbs. Fat. Here's the thing most people don't realize. In a real crisis, when you're stressed, moving, or working harder than normal, your body burns through fat reserves fast. And if your stockpile has 0 healthy fats, you're going to feel it. Hard. That's where canned coconut milk becomes one of the smartest cans you can own. It's calorie-dense. It's loaded with medium-chain fatty acids that your body converts to energy fast. And the flavor it adds to basic emergency meals? Honestly, it's a game changer. Cook your rice in coconut milk instead of water. Suddenly, that plain rice feels like an actual meal. Add it to canned soup, mix it with beans, drink it straight if you need the calories, and here's the part that surprises people. Unopened canned coconut milk typically lasts 2 to 5 years. 0 refrigeration needed. Pure shelf-stable energy in a can. Most preppers build their entire stockpile around protein and carbs and completely forget about fat. Huge mistake. This is how you fix it. Speaking of protein, though, number 6 is the protein powerhouse that most people already have in their pantry. Just not nearly enough of it. 6. Canned tuna in oil. All right, canned tuna, the classic. And yeah, you already know about it. But I promise you don't know everything. First, the oil matters. A lot. Most people grab tuna packed in water without thinking twice. Stop doing that. The 3 types of tuna, canned in oil, canned in water, and fresh, all contain similar amounts of protein, vitamins, and minerals. But tuna packed in oil gives you significantly more calories per can. In a survival situation, calories equal energy. Energy equals survival. Simple math. Second, mercury is real but manageable. Canned chunk light tuna, skipjack, has about 1/3 of the mercury levels found in canned albacore. So grab chunk light, not albacore. That's your safer, smarter pick. Third, buy in bulk. Costco and Sam's Club regularly carry large packs at prices that make individual grocery store cans look like a scam. Stock up when you see a sale. 1 can of tuna gives you around 25 grams of protein. That's serious fuel. No cooking required. Ready straight from the can. Just don't make tuna your only protein source. Rotate it, which brings us perfectly to number 5. 5. Canned black beans/kidney beans. I want you to think about something for a second. 1 can of black beans, under $2 at most stores. And inside that can is more protein than 3 eggs, a significant amount of fiber, and minerals your body genuinely needs to function under stress. $2. That's it. And here's what makes beans truly special for a stockpile. They work on every level. Protein source, carb source, fiber source, all in one can. When your body is stressed, and in a real SHTF scenario, it will be stressed, fiber keeps your gut healthy and functioning. Most people don't think about digestive health when they're prepping. They absolutely should. Canned beans have a shelf life of 2 to 5 years, and they're ready to eat cold, straight from the can, with no cooking required. That matters when power is out. Pro tip, grab low-sodium versions whenever possible. They give you full control over your salt intake and pair better with everything else in your stockpile. Black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, chickpeas, stock all of them. Rotate every few months. Buy 2 cans for everyone you eat. This is the most affordable, most versatile survival food on this entire list. Period. 1-4. Canned salmon. Most people reach for tuna and walk right past the salmon. That's one of the most expensive mistakes you can make building your stockpile. Because here's the truth. Salmon delivers higher levels of brain-boosting omega-3 fats and much higher levels of bone-strengthening calcium compared to tuna. Not a little higher. Significantly higher. And here's the part that genuinely surprises people. Canned salmon with bones is actually more nutritious than fresh salmon because it's higher in calcium. Those soft bones you can eat. They're not just safe to eat. They're actually the reason canned salmon beats fresh salmon on calcium content. One serving gives you around 15% of your daily calcium needs. Think about that in a long-term crisis. No dairy available, limited fresh food. Your bones and muscles still need calcium every single day. Canned salmon quietly covers that gap. A single 6-ounce can of salmon typically contains 1.5 to 2 grams of omega-3 fatty acids, far more than a comparable serving of tuna. Yes, it costs a bit more than tuna, but for what it delivers nutritionally, canned salmon is worth every penny. Stock it alongside your tuna. Alternate between the two. Your body will thank you. 3. Canned baked beans. I know what you're thinking. Baked beans? Really? Yes, really. And let me tell you why this one matters more than you think. In any real crisis, a storm, a power outage, an economic shock, anything that disrupts normal life, food stops being just fuel. It becomes comfort. It becomes normalcy. It becomes one of the only things that makes a hard situation feel a little more human. And a warm can of baked beans. That hits different when everything around you is going sideways. But here's what makes baked beans genuinely smart for your stockpile. Not just emotionally, but nutritionally. You get protein, you get carbohydrates, you get fiber, all in one ready-to-eat can that requires 0 preparation. Shelf life runs 2 to 5 years, and they taste good cold if heating isn't an option. Kids eat baked beans without complaint, and if you have children in a stressful situation, that alone is priceless. You don't want to fight with a tired, hungry kid over food they refuse to eat. Look for varieties with lower sodium and real bean content, rather than mostly sauce. The bean-heavy cans give you far better nutrition per serving. Comfort food is not a luxury in survival situations. It's a necessity. And don't leave baked beans off your list. Canned beef stew / canned meat. Picture this. It's late evening. The power is out. The fridge is warming up. The stove won't light. And suddenly all those fresh groceries you trusted aren't much help anymore. That's when a simple can of beef stew turns from just another canned food into something far more valuable. A full emergency dinner sitting quietly on your pantry shelf. Most people underestimate canned meat, but nutrition experts point out that canned protein sources like beef or fish still provide dense nutrients and essential amino acids the body needs for muscle repair and energy. Here's why preppers quietly keep these around. They're ready to eat straight from the can. No cooking, no preparation, no electricity. Inside that single can, you usually get a combination of protein, fats, vegetables, and calories. The exact things your body needs when stress is high and food options are limited. But there's one trick experienced stockpilers know. Skip the ultra-processed options and choose lower sodium varieties when possible. Too much salt can raise blood pressure if consumed frequently, which is why experts recommend watching sodium levels in canned foods. Think of canned beef stew as the open and eat emergency meal. Not glamorous, but when the unexpected happens, it's one of the most practical cans you can own. 1. Canned mixed beans/full meal beans. Now we get to the one item that quietly dominates almost every serious pantry: mixed beans. This might surprise people because beans don't look exciting. No flashy packaging, no trendy label, just humble little legumes floating in a can. But nutritionally, they're a powerhouse. A single cup of canned beans can deliver around 15 grams of protein and about 15 grams of fiber, which is more than half of the daily fiber most adults need. That combination matters more than people realize. Fiber helps keep you full longer, supports digestion, and even helps regulate cholesterol and blood sugar levels. In fact, dietitians increasingly describe beans as one of the most underrated superfoods because they combine plant protein, minerals like iron and magnesium, and powerful antioxidants in a very inexpensive package. And here's the prepper advantage: versatility. You can eat them cold, mix them with rice, add them to soup, mash them into spreads, turn them into chili. One cheap can become 3 different meals. That's why many long-term planners call mixed beans the goat of food storage. Inexpensive, shelf-stable, and nutritionally dense. If you're building a pantry today, this is the can you should probably be buying more of than anything else. All right? Real quick, because this part matters more than most people think. You can have the best stockpile in the world and still lose everything if you store it wrong. I've seen it happen. Hundreds of dollars worth of food ruined because of one simple mistake. So here are the rules. Follow them. No shortcuts. Cool, dark, and dry. That's your golden rule. Keep your cans between 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. No garages, no cabinets above the stove, no outside walls. Heat and moisture destroy canned food faster than any expiration date ever will. Write the date on every can. The day you buy it, I just grab a marker and write it on top. Takes 5 seconds. Saves you from guessing what's old and what's not. First in, first out. New cans go to the back. Older cans come to the front. Every single time. This one habit keeps your entire stockpile fresh automatically. Inspect before you eat. Bulging lid? Throw it out immediately. Rust on the seam? Gone. Dent on the seam line? Don't risk it. A compromise in a crisis situation is the last thing you need. Simple rules, massive difference. That's your list. 15 cans. Real nutrition, real shelf life, real peace of mind. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now. Which of these 15 canned foods do you already have in your pantry? I read every single one. If this video helped you, hit that like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps more families find this information before they actually need it. And subscribe if you haven't already. Because next week, we're exposing the everyday grocery items that are quietly disappearing from store shelves right now. Store managers already know. Most shoppers don't. You'll want to see that one. Stay prepared. See you next week.